Everybody, this is Barry Johns. Welcome back to another edition of Studio Talk. Do you ever ask yourself, do you go too far with your mixes? Do you go too far with your arrangements? Are you overthinking things so much that by the time you're finished with that song, it's nothing like you had it planned when you started? Let's talk about that. We all at least record music, right? I think most of us write and record music. And, a lot of us, we want to try to be like the major players. We want to try to, the guys that do this professionally out there, we want to try and emulate some of those workflows as much as possible. It's a natural thing to do. Want to know how to get good at something? Well, look at somebody who's really good at it and learn from them. And so when you start thinking about you're trying to put together your song, and we're given so many tools to work with today, whether it's unlimited amount of tracks. We could do a gazillion tracks, or at least most of us can if we choose to. We have access to sounds that we've never had before via virtual instruments. We have so many amazing plugins that we can work with today and help us take creative liberties beyond just trying to capture the source, but maybe take creative liberties with that. We have so many flexibilities. We can do a different track for every little word if we want to in a lyric. I mean, play whatever, however back in the day it was tracks, now it's playlist, so it doesn't really matter. So we can do all those things. So you getting where I'm going? Is your plate getting full with all the items on the buffet as you're going through it? We got a lot. We got a lot of choices, okay? A lot of choices. Well, you know what? Here in the States, we got this place called Golden Corral. I don't recommend any of you go there, but we got this place called Golden Corral. And in this, you've got seas and seas and seas and massive runways of buffets and buffets and buffets. You probably have 50 choices in there. Do you know the only thing you get out of Golden Corral with all those choices is fat or a heart attack? Because none of them are good choices. You just got a lot of them. All they're doing is filling your belly. They're not satisfying your need. Okay. Now, maybe that was the most horrible example in the world, but I'm sticking to it. I think we got to really think about this stuff. Are we trying to do too much? We see what seems to be like all these albums that are like 150 tracks or, 100 plus tracks. Let's just keep it simple. Keep it simple. I just said 100 plus tracks and we're going to keep it simple. Whatever. Okay. That's kind of my point to some degree, that I would even say that and actually let it come out of my mouth. We've got all these choices and we can layer and layer and layer. And oftentimes as we're doing it, we're thinking about that one little part and we're doing this and that, forgetting, what is a song about? What am I trying to convey here? If you think the average listener pays attention to half that stuff, they don't. They don't. I'm not saying don't do it. And I'm saying there are people out there that appreciate that kind of stuff. But if you look at the most sold songs in the planet, the songs that have made the most money, the songs that have been the most popular, the music that has changed society, changed culture, changed fashion, changed all these things throughout history, almost all of them are incredibly simple songs. Simply arranged, simply played, okay, and simply tracked. That's what the majority of them are. Now you could make the argument, well, Barry, they didn't have all those tools back then. There's some truth to that. But your average listener doesn't care. That's us caring. That's us overanalyzing and overthinking. If you're ever trying to chase a song and you just want to be able to have a gazillion tracks because you see everybody else doing that, when you could probably get that thing done for about 16 or 18 tracks, okay? There's nothing wrong with doing a song with just 16, 18 tracks. Nothing whatsoever. Don't feel like you're somehow shortchanging yourself because you don't have that many tracks in your session. No, it's not about that. It's not about feeling good. I'm a massive engineer in my home studio. Look at all these tracks. I got 40,000 tracks for background vocals. Were they really that bad that you had to put them on different tracks? Could they just not sing it through and get it done? Or were you that bad? Maybe you were singing it. I know I sometimes am like that. I'm that bad sometimes, but so it's not a dig. It's just a dose of reality, right? Um, you know, you don't have to go that far. Quit. No, I'm not going to say quick. Who am I to tell you how to be creative with your music? I'm not. It's not my place to tell you that. Okay, and I have to be careful, I guess, about how I'm doing this because not everything I say is going to apply to every situation, and I've got to respect that and remind myself of that from time to time. Um, but but you know, ask yourself, am I doing this because this song really needs this? Or am I doing this because I can do this? Am I doing this because it's what seems to be what everybody else is doing? Is that why I'm doing it? Why is it I'm doing what I'm doing? Why am I making the choices I'm making? And I think for many of us throughout our journey, we don't stop and really ask ourselves that question. Because if we really did, we may want to stop and say, so I'm going to mix this thing down most likely to a stereo 2 track for most of us, right? That's what it's going to be mixed down to. And it's ultimately get out there into either a WAV file or an MP3 file, whatever the file format is. It gets it so people can listen to it. That's going to be 2 track. Ain't nobody out there listening to that song thinking about how many tracks I used. Ain't nobody out there listening to that song thinking about how many overdubs did I do. Ain't nobody out there thinking about how many little tricks did I do that only I notice. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't put some of these things in there? No, but it should be there for a reason. It should be there to make the song interesting, to make something unique, not just to do it because you can. And again, that's probably not applicable to everything. I'm just saying, don't try to compete with the Joneses. You're trying to create a great song. Oftentimes, the greatest songs in the world are not a gazillion tracks. Okay? There's lots of great music coming out today that is not a gazillion tracks. I'm not saying there's anything against using a gazillion tracks, but you should only be using, in my opinion, or I think it's highly unlikely that you're going to be effective using a gazillion tracks just for the sole purpose of trying to look like you're at that level with everybody else. So I think you really need to stop sometimes and focus on, I'm writing a song here. I'm recording a song. I'm trying to capture an emotion, trying to capture a message. And oftentimes that emotion and that message gets all convoluted when we start overanalyzing it and overthinking it, somehow feeling like I don't have that many tracks, so I've got to do more. There's no way in the world I can just finish this song with just less than, 20 tracks as an example. No way. I'm going to share a secret with you. I do sessions that get me up into the 80 track range. I've never in my journey, not one single time, written a song where I was following the song and ended up in 100 tracks. I've done things with 100 tracks just to play around. I've done that. I found out very quickly I didn't need to do that. Okay. I didn't need to do that. And so I would say probably if I'm recording a band, if I'm tracking a band, okay, probably at the most 32 tracks, maybe 32 to 36, never over 40. I don't think I can't say that. I would say that the vast majority of bands that I've tracked, and it's not like I do a gazillion of that, but over the years, and I'm going to talk about modern times. Never more than 40 tracks, hardly, and that would be kind of pushing it. And the majority of those would be drums. Okay. Drums, layering of guitars, things like that. They just don't require a lot. Okay. So just because you can does not mean you should. So think about these things. Make sure you're focused on the song, not trying to compete with the Joneses, not overthinking, not overanalyzing it. Remind yourself that the most well-received songs in history rock history, popular music history, have been simple songs. I had to stop myself there because I'm thinking, Beethoven might have a lot to say about what I just said. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, if you're out there recording an orchestra, hey, you're going to need a lot of tracks. Okay. So anyway, if you like the things I talk about on this channel, hopefully I've given you something to think about today. Do me a favor, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and then that notification bell. Help you know when I got a new video out. Put some comments down below. Tell me how you feel about this. Tell me about your experiences. You may be the next Tom Scholes out there, that needs to work on an album for 7 or 8 years every day of your life, layering and layering and layering to get that polished, amazing product like Boston's first album. Okay. But I hate to break it to you, but the ones after that didn't have that magic that first album had. So you're not always going to have time to do all that stuff. So anyway, put some comments down below. Tell us what you think about it. Maybe this doesn't apply to you, but if it does, take the advice and use it however you see fit. So until next time, hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.